Yo, what is up, Star Nation? I am Ndwandwe, joined by one of our coaches, Coach Marcus, as well as one of our players, Boyzie, Ndwandwe. And of course, welcome to Football for Beginners and Beyond, where we essentially let you guys in on the basics of football. And without rambling too much, we are going to get straight into it. But before that, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So, Coach, we know that the game is regulated and there's really low sweat. But today, I just wanted us to start by touching on a offside rule. Why is there an offside rule? Why is it in football?
Okay. First, let me start with offside. We've got different types of law. We've got different number of laws of the game. We've got 17 laws of the game. And offside, it's law number 11. That it was there in football to make people not to hang around into the opposition half for quite some times by gaining advantage.
Okay. Yeah. And then I would like to think also there's different lines on the field. There is the defense line, there's the midfield line.
Yeah. Before I go to the lines, I just want to elaborate something in the field of play, because also the field, it's law number 1 of which we talk about the field. I just want to elaborate more about the field because it's going to affect the laws of the game a little bit later, and how offside can it be, and noguti yini offside. First, I want to talk about the field. Field has been designed in a rectangle shape. Then we've got two halves, of which is this half and that half. This half is the half for team A, that one is a half of team B. But in a team A, we've got boxes. This one is box number 1, of which is going to affect the goal kick, of which later is going to affect the offside, either to be an offside or not being an offside. This one is box 2, of which is also affecting when you restart your kickoff. The law doesn't allow the defending team to get inside, of which they are so important to understand, especially for the beginners. And this half also, it's also owned by the team A. Then this side of team A, there is no way that there will be an offside. The offside they can only occur on the other side. And the team that is owning this half, there is no way that they can be offside in their own half.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what is a high line, a medium line, and a low line?
Okay. The high line now, it depends with, there is a formation in football.
Okay.
This one we play low, it's our half. The more the team plays a little bit in their half, they are playing with a low line. The higher you go trying to push the opponent into their half, then that's when now they play with a high line. That is the difference between the lines. It's a low line and the high line. Okay. But within the formation, we've got lines also, vertical lines and the horizontal line. But in that regard, I think it will be a little bit easier when I put it in terms of the players, so that at least people will be able to understand when you're talking about the lines in terms of the formation. This one, you've got your 2 center back, you've got your left back, you've got the right back. This one is the first line because this is the line of the defenders. But in terms of positioning, normally we've got your 2 center backs that are they're creating their own line, and you've got your full backs that are a little bit in front of this line, then they are creating another line. This is line 1, line 2, but all of them, they are still defenders. Then you'll find your midfielders, of which is a defensive midfielder. Normally, sometimes you find him in the same line with the fullbacks, with the defenders. They are still the defenders, but their starting position is not in line with this line of the defenders. They are a little bit higher, then they form another line, then you find the line of 3. Then going forward, then you'll find your 8. Maybe you find, okay, maybe 2 8 or 1 8 and a 10. This is another line. You've got another line of which, when you look at it, it's a 4, 3, and you'll have another 3 here. The formation on itself, it looks like a 4-3-3, but when you look in terms of the line, you've got this line, you've got this line, you've got this line, you've got this line. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Then also we can also put the goalkeeper. This is the number of lines. But the number of lines horizontally, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. But vertically, you've got also the lines in terms of verticality. You've got this line 1, you find line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and even horizontally. I mean, vertically, you've got 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. And then you've already put the players in their positions. So there's the defense line, there's the midfield, and there is the forwards.
Yes.
How do they all work in unison, like when they're playing? How does one affect the other, essentially?
The only way the lines can be affected, let's say maybe the ball is with the left center back. With the left center back, the full back normally sometimes, some teams they want them to go a little bit higher. Some they say come a little bit shallow so that at least they can be a combination play. This one I'm talking about the line of the defenders. Then we say, can we drop one of the midfielders now to come closer to each other so that you can create this triangle? This one is not a defender, it's a midfielder. But now because of we want to combine in a short distances, then he form part of what? Form part of these two defenders, but it's a midfielder. Now he has moved this to join this line now. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, because now the ball is in play. Then even when we go forward, when the ball will go higher, the distance between a winger and the fullback is shouldn't too far apart. I push, you push, you push, you push, everybody is pushing. Then we don't create a lot of distances amongst ourselves. Then we don't play with a long team, but we always play with a compact team.
Oh, okay. And then how they're all in their positions, right?
Yes.
Please explain each player's role and how it is important to the game.
Okay.
A successful game, that is.
Firstly, when you set up your formation, if I decided to say I want to play the 4-3-3 formation, the 4-3-3, they are played by individual players.
Okay.
Within the individual players, there is roles that they need to play. And when I look at the characteristics, they should be suiting how I want to play. Let's say, for instance, I want to play with a 4-3-3, but with the full backs. A full backs is someone that you need to cover the entire corridor. Corridor, I'm talking about from here on the white channel. We've got the white channel, then we've got this one that we call it the half spaces. Then if it's a full back, this full back, it should be able to cover the entire corridor up and down when we are taking, when we are defending. This area we call it the lateral corridor. You should be able to have the capacity to cover this. If you don't have capacity to cover this, it means we cannot play such position. Then the very same fullback, we can make him as a right back. A right back is someone that it doesn't go a little bit higher, but is only playing in the defensive, but covering a certain area. He can only play here. His duties is only to defend. Most of the time he's defending. But the fullback, he defends, he attacks. It means the engine of this guy, it should be a little bit bigger. And at the center back as well, you want somebody that can read the game. When you've got the ball, you should be able to play combined, not someone that is kicking the ball forward. Then the midfielders, we should be having the 6 that it can be able to protect the second last line and supply the line in front of him with the ball so that at least the team can progress. Yeah, that is the responsibility of the individual players.
And then when it comes to the midfield, what kind of player do you guys usually put in the midfield? Like, what should be their strengths that determine what's okay, that's the person we're going to have in the midfield? Okay.
Here, we just need someone that is very intelligent, he can see the game, and he's got a very good technical ability to find the forwards. And also he's got the strength to defend, because this guy is in between the second last line and the line in front. If these guys lose the ball, this guy should be able to cover. He also needs strength, because if you're playing with 1-6s and the ball goes to the sides, he should be able to cover that side. Then sometimes you can even compensate with the 8 to become as a 6. He should have that ability to do so. The 8s, this is one of the most difficult positions in football, because these are the ones that are covering a lot of distances in football. It's the 8s and the fullbacks that are covering, especially with a team like it's a ball-playing team. Normally, they need to cover when we defend, and they also need to break the line. Going forward and up, and they don't have to stop. Even the fullbacks, if sometimes he's late to come on the side, this guy, we're still expecting him to do what? To come on the side, to play inside. Yeah.
And then, because in the midfield as well, do you communicate with the people in front? Do you communicate with the people at the back?
Yeah, I think it's very important for a midfielder, we would say, like, you communicate, because as coach has said, namzobeka like information ixeshana yakhe. 8, 9, 10, 12, 4, 5, 7, 11, 6. Yeah. So 6 is very important. We yonke lento, because yonke into idlula again. For me, it's position elula out the enzima, so we have to communicate with the back line and the forwards. Also, as an 8, your responsibility is to you help when we defend, when you attack, you are there. So, I play as an 8, as a 6, 10. I played as a winger when I was young. Ngicabanga ukuthi communication ibaluleke kakhulu kulama position lawo. 6 double center backs and keep, because if sikhuluma like City low block, so ama center back azodictate ukuthi njengamanje defender kanjani. If defender low and compact, so sonke soba kanje. If we high line foot communication means from the back or from the keeper or from the 6, because ibona abantu ababona yonke into isikhathini esiningi.
Oh, okay. And then njengoba udlala in the middle, it seems as though like you're the one that almost like or assist for the most part. But I want to find out, is there anyone that is sort of like responsible to make sure you guys are playing in unison, like all in the field, obviously. Obviously, nonke umuntu has their own role and responsibility in the field. But is there someone that like where they communicate with every single person in the field to make sure you guys are playing in unison?
Yeah, going it's the center backs and the keeper are most important. 96, and yeah, as I said, if it's center back, because your personalities abantu abafani. Mhlawumbe khona umuntu ongathi unomoya phansi quiet. Ukeeper udlala irole enkulu because yena ubona iground lonke ukeeper, yabo.
Okay.
So yena umuntu icommunication yakhe ebaleke kakhulu futhi ukuthi ekwazi usitshela, because sonke sifisele yena uyakwazi ukubona ibhola yonke into eyenzakala la egroundini ngoba ula emove.
And another thing, just to add on that, the communication also, it can be a verbal communication or a non-verbal communication, of which when you train, you need to train how you move. Then the communication, angeke ize ngokukhuluma, says automatically, because when you've got your 3 midfielders, your 6, your 8, and your 8, you train them to play in these areas. If there is someone that is not there, or there is a lot of players around here, it should come automatically from the training. That's why it's very important now when you train, you need to contextualize your exercises based on how you want to train. You need to put them in relation where you want the actions to happen. That's where now you can always have the non-verbal communication through football action language.
Okay, and then make Lala. And say, for example, the people in the middle, they're not in the game, like they're not doing well. How does that affect everyone else on the field?
The well part, it's all about one player. Actually, when you say something is not well, it means it started by one player. And if it start, let's say, for instance, it started by the center back, where's the ball? The center back that is not giving the 6 the ball. We need to look and say what makes us not to get the ball to the 6. You'll find that the 6 in most cases, he doesn't want to move, to drop. He always sitting with the 6. They are 9. Then it's a problem. It cannot start by everybody. It should start by. Then you need to see like this guy is not moving. Then that's where now their teammates, there is no way that they'll get the ball. They need to communicate. If you don't drop, move away. When he moves away with you, then we can come, then we can always create the space. Then automatically it becomes a non-verbal communication.
Okay. And then I want us to go back to formations.
Yes.
How do you establish like a formation? And why do different teams use different ones? Why doesn't everyone use the same one?
Yeah, before formation normally, like it should come from the club model. Okay. If the team has got a certain way of working, they should have a model. And why? because in football, coaches comes and go. You understand? If you've got a model where when coach comes, he puts this idea into the model. Even when you go identify players, it's going to be easier to identify players that they've got a character that can make a certain culture of the club. Even if you lose the coach, then you don't have to lose the model, the style of play within the club. That's why in most cases, when you bring the coach, he must adopt to the club model. And most of the team, they prefer the certain formation. You say like, you cannot play the 4-4-2. We believe in 4-3-3. You need to start, even if you believe in a 4-4-2, but because of you are modeling what the club wants, then you always have to put your ideas in that. And for reason of teams not to using one formation is because they've got different beliefs, and you'll find I want to play 4-3-3, but the characteristics of the players that they can play 4-3-3, I cannot find them, I cannot buy them, or I don't have them at all. Then I have to opt for something that maybe I can use ngalama player laong club.
Okay. And then when it comes to formations, which one would you say, like either locally or internationally, which one do you feel like you admire?
Personally, I admire 4-3-3, and it's easy to play it. Even the beginners, actually, it's a little bit easy, because even if you can go back to the board, I just want to show you why is it easy. Because in this, if you've got the right back, you've got the winger, you've got the left center back, then you've got your 8. You've got your 8, then you've got your 6, and you've got your 9, you've got your 10, you've got your center back, you've got the left back. Even if you can check here, we've got 2 players that are operating on the lateral corridors. This one, it's a half spaces. You've got players that, you've got two players. It's easy to understand. What you need to work on is the distances when you attack and when you defend. It's easy to teach. Even if you want to change along the way and say, I want to change from the 4-3-3 to a 4-4-2. You can just say, let me drop this one and have maybe 2 6s, maybe with 1-10 and the striker. Let's say maybe 2 strikers like this. Then you've got your fullback. Then
10 is a striker, 11 is a winger.
Yeah, winger. Then you've got your
10 is a striker.
Yeah, then you can bring this one. Or you can bring this one, with the 2 strikers. You've got your 2 strikers. Then you've got this. Then it's easy to go to 4-4-2 within the game.
Which formation do you prefer? Like that you feel like you admire, whether it's locally or internationally, that you feel like?
Yeah, and I mean, it's the same formation as Ulo coach. It's 4-3-3 attack with or 8 abai 2. Yeah, it's formation efanayo basically. It's 6.
Have you guys ever like coach Angelo would say this was the formation you guys are gonna use, and then when figure food then one would say I like amongst you guys?
Na ngoba coach ichazile iyazenzakalela like iyayishintshela yona, because depending on igame esidlala ngaleso sikhathi iyashintsha like phambili like head hayi ukuthi ungayenza still usengayenza uthi 10 wehlise ilo i80 mase mhlawumbe uzofaka kube nama 10s ayi3,
then kube 4-2-3-1.
yeah, kube 4-2-3-1, or ungahamba futhi sekuyi 4-4-2. So iyayizenzakalela depending on igame esidlalayo, nanokuthi abantu badlala information yiphi. Asithi for instance badlala 3 center backs, so thina soba na 2 strikers ezoba in between ama center backs, and then soba nama 10s ethu la, still sane 6, still have 8 ezokwazi ukuthi i8 kwi-attack, we push ama full backs high, and then into eba kanje.
And to be honest with you, the tactics, they belong to players. Okay. Because players, they are the one that they see the game. And what they are seeing, what is happening, and what they are thinking is not going to be the same as what coach is seeing, what is thinking, and what is happening. That's why the tactics, they really belong to the players.
From your experience, have you had players change information after Bajeleon?
Yeah, players, they change every time based on what is the demand. If what I've said is not working and there is something that they see, there is no way that they have to wait. That's why in football you've got tactical analysis, tactical demand, and the tactical agreement.
Okay, so Coach Marcus, you touched on formations, the lines, and everything else. I just want to find out from you, Boyzie, which coaches influence how you see the game, both locally and abroad?
Okay, I brought Pep Guardiola to Barcelona with the 4-3-3 formation, and locally, okay, I'll mention 3.
Okay.
Coach Bizo Msimani, Coach Mngqithi, and Coach Rulane Mokwena. Those are people that I've worked with them closely. Those are people, Mang Sabenza now, I had more time to ask a lot of questions. And that's why I say I need to talk more about them, because Pep, I saw him from a distance. I didn't have enough time to talk to him. That's why I say this one, I think that the one that they come on top of my list.
So just to highlight on the importance of betting on SA football, make sure that you're betting using 10 bets. And if you back Golden Arrows with just 20 Rand, you get up to 100 Rand free. Welcome back, Senior Nation. I hope you enjoyed your break, and thank you so much for tuning in till this far, right? I hope Coach and Boyzie is still doing okay. You're still doing fine?
I'm good.
All right, so I'm going to start with you, Coach. I just want to find out from you, let's see, what are substitutes?
Okay, substitute are people that, like, in football, you've got the starters, the one that are going to start the game, and there will be players that will be sitting outside on the bench. Mm-hmm. The one that they will be coming from the bench, those are the substitutes.
Okay, so normally in football, we normally get our substitutes second half, right? But sometimes during the game, you find that the coach will change a player during first half. So what's the difference between a sub from first half and second half?
Okay, number one, in football, when you do sub, it's because of the complications that you are encountering in the game. You can sub first half, you can sub first minute, you can sub later in the game. It depends with the situation. Sometimes there are not subs, we don't put subs just because of you want to put sub. It's just because one has exhausted his energy, one is injured, or we realize that the tactics that we agree upon, they are not working based on the certain weaknesses that one player it's occurring. Then that's where we can make a sub. It can be first half, it can be second half, it can be later in the game.
Okay. Boyzie, I just want to find out from you, your perspective as a player. Why do you feel, or what do you think certain players are good as subs instead of starting a game? Right? And why certain players can start a game but will not be as good as the subs?
Mina, like, personally, like, ngena as a sub, kuba inkinga kumina because i-tempo ye-game isuke si-high, so if we sub samele catch up with the speed sabantu abangaphakathi. So mina, like, personally, ngithanda ukuthi ngiqale nayo igame ukuze ngikwazi ukuthi ngidictate i-tempo ukuthi ngikwazi ukuthi ngihambe ne-game. So ngicabanga ukuthi abanye khona omunye umuntu ozothi, like, ufuna uqale eyibone igame ukuthi kanjani mase eyakwazi ukuthi ehambe naye, because asifani zabantu. Khona umuntu ofuna ogood ekudeni igame ehleli ngaphandle, khona umuntu ogood ukuthi eyibone igame engaphakathi. So ngicabanga ukuthi iyona i-difference leyo, and mina ngibona ukuthi kuba nzima kakhulu if uzongena as a sub. Angazi ngachaza kanjani, but mina I prefer to start a game than to come on as a sub.
On that note, as you've mentioned, also, you feel like kunzima. Do you feel there's a bit of a shame, a substitute, or if you play as a sub or coming on as a sub, do you feel that that's a bit of an uncomfortable situation, an embarrassing situation?
Akubi kanjalo, because the team sport ekugcineni sonke wonke umuntu ufuna ukudlala. And i-team inabadlali abaningi, like mhlawumbe 30 eteamini and kuhamba 20, so mhlawumbe 10 osele ekhaya. So privileged enough wena ukuthi bakufaka efieldini, ocoach bakholelwa kuwena. So lokho kukodwa nje kuyinto enkulu kuwena ukuthi for the fact ukuthi ukhona kwi-team ukusiza i-team okubalekile more than ukuthi wena ufila kanjani wena personally as uBoyzie ukuthi okay bangikhiphe within 30 minutes because if into ingenzeki ngaleso sikhathi ayenzeki and mhlawumbe kuyenzeka ukuthi bekufake bephinde bekukhiphe into eyenzeka la ebholeni le so akusile ihlazo kuthina like edlalayo akusile ihlazo sokuba kufakele bakukhipha mhlawumbe ngingasho nje ukuthi into ebalekile behamba phambili i-team more than uwena as individual.
Okay, thank you so much, boys. Is there anything that you feel you'd like to add when it comes to sub, boys, as a player that you have discovered in your years of playing?
Being a sub, basically, like, is ukuthi kumele mhlezi uready futhi mungaphandle and mungena wenza sure ukuthi uyayinyusa like igame ye-team depending on the situation. Sometimes uyangena as a sub uzodefenda mhlawumbe sesiyadefenda, sometimes uyangena as a sub we're chasing the game or sifuna like ukhipha like i-momentum yethu. Ngicabanga ukuthi being a sub kubalekile ukuthi uhlezi ufocus ukwazi ukuthi usize i-team going forward.
Thank you so much for that, boys. Back to you, coach. You also mentioned, Boyzie, sometimes you change a player because of an injury. So a lot of injuries happen during a game. So what kind of injury or how severe must an injury be for you to change a player?
Like if the player cannot run one, because football is a game of action, it requires more of running. If we cannot run, or let's say maybe if it's an injury, concussion, then you cannot continue with the game. Definitely you need to be subbed immediately.
Okay, so sometimes as a player, I'm sure you get injured, Boyzie, and then but because you still want to play out throughout the game, what happens in that instance? How do you hide it? And would you then say that's a selfish move for the team?
Depends on the type of injury you've occurred. Sometimes go by like just a minor injury. La ufila ngathi you can like carry on helping the team. Mhlawumbe coach ubona otherwise ngaphandle ukuthi khona la ulekha khona mhlawumbe usasprint njengoba usprinter. But I don't think it's selfish. Ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu soyefuna ukusiza i-team ngaleso sikhathi.
But do you then not feel it takes away from the team because you're not performing the same way that you initially should be performing?
Ngoba ngishilo depending on ilo futhi i-game ukuthi ikanjani. Khona abantu like njengami ngithandi like ukuphuma and mingilimele ngeke ngisho no singilimele ngizoqhubeka ngidlale. So wena kumele uyibonele ukuthi okay lo muntu unenkinga ungikhiphe because ukuthi mhlawumbe angikwazi ukuya phambili ngizowenza sure ukuthi I defend. Yeah.
And how does that make you feel, coaching? When you had a little giggle when Boyzie gave his answer, how does that make you feel as a coach on the side watching the game? And that's how a player retaliates or does things.
Yeah, it's normal to I'm a player with a injury, and in football we've got different types of players. We've got players that are influential. Either you're performing or you're not performing. For the fact that you are inside the field of play, sometimes by being there, you motivate some players. Without you, sometimes they can't do anything. That's why most of the time they hide injuries. And it doesn't sound well, especially if the team lose, maybe someone cannot run and all those stuff. But there are players that are influential. Even us as coaches, we know that if we've got this one, it's a leader, he can drive the team. Definitely, even if it's injured, but he can still run. He can still give us that support in the field of play so that we can achieve what we want to achieve.
Thank you so much for that. Also, Coach, I just want to ask, why do some players excel as subs in versus when they would start the actual game? There's this certain player that would never start the game, but they're so great as a sub.
Yeah, two things. One, maybe you find out is like it's a player that he wants to work intense for a short period of time. Definitely, when the game is a little bit went far and maybe the entire team or the opponent are tired, that's where he can excel because he still have that energy. His energy is not the same as others. Those are some of the things. And another one, we've got a very good game readers. People, they want to see first how does the game unfold. When he comes there, he's got an idea, the picture up at the game. Then when he gets there, he just makes things as easy as he can.
So it's mostly people that want to read and understand the game first, and the players playing the game, and then you find, I think, stamina, that people, they lack stamina, you said.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a matter of lacking stamina. They just want to work intense in a short period of time, because what is it that he can do. The magic that he has, he doesn't need to go a little bit longer. He just want to come there as a super sub, do the job, then he goes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, because as Golden Arrows, we love putting our supporters first, and we always want to know what they're thinking. We do have a few questions from the nation that they have been dying to ask. Okay. So the first question, right, is, we all know football players are also players off the field. So what happens when two players this is directed to you, Boyzie. Okay, so what happens when two players have a fallout over girls and they play on the same team? And has this happened before?
Angazi ngahlangana nesimo esikanjalo, and ekugcineni abantu izinto zenzeka ngendlela kwenzeka ngayo, but ngicabanga egroundini into ebalekile i-team, and ngeke uthathe izinto zangaphandle uyilese elo emsebenzini nanoma yini. Akudingi kuze kubangwe mhlawumbe umuntu wesifazane, mhlawumbe khona izinto engayibanga nje ningabantu, mhlawumbe indlela engikhulume ngayo nawe noma ini, but lokho akusho ukuthi kumele sikulethe kwi-team environment ukuthi manje sesixabanisa ukuthi so angisamphaseli ubani ngoba kwenzeka lokho.
It's a safe space, boys. You can tell us. Okay, and coach, what do you think about that? Surely as a coach, you do hear about things going on between the team, and as a team, Boyzie has mentioned, the most important thing is working as a team. And obviously, if there's underlying issues, you can't work as a team.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to talk about the emotions and the feelings. Like when such happen, those are the external factors that they affect the emotions and the feelings. And those two things, it's not something that you can coach. It's just a feeling from a human being. Then it brings the behavioral response. That's where you'll start seeing the action. It's a very difficult one to comment on, that we say people, they can still work together, whereas there is a certain feelings and a certain emotions that are going through. That one is a little bit difficult. It all needs someone, even if you can say be professional, but the feeling, you cannot coach feelings. You cannot change the feeling, because feelings is something that is being heard by the owner.
So what do you do in that situation? Do you have a sit down, or because as you mentioned just now to me that sometimes you try and be professional about it because it's work at the end of the day, but feelings are feelings. So what happens in that instance?
We talk, we sit down, but also it goes down to the receptor, Suguti, when he receive it. Can he change? That's why I'm talking about the feelings. Sometimes if we cannot get a solution, then you need to make some changes.
Okay. So the next one is, how do coaches deal with when you as the coach now fights with the player, and do you end up representing that player and not making them play, or resenting, I mean?
Now that one, it will be emotional. As a coach, definitely we need to fight them, because why? We can see the potential that they have, and the only way to get that out of you is to fight with you. And if you'll find a coach that is fighting a player, you must know that coach is caring about that particular player because he sees something. It's not a matter of after that fight, we always fight with Boyzie, but at the end of the day, we hug, we encourage, we move on, because I know what Boyzie can give this team.
Okay, Boyzie, in your experience with football, or in your years of being a football player, have you ever came across a situation where you feel like you and a specific coach are not getting along, not just because of work, like Coach Marcus is saying, but it's more of a personal end? And do you feel like they then stop making you play, or it affects you in any way in the field because of that?
Personally, nah, akaze, but like emsebenzini seke kwenzeka kaningi ukuthi mhlawumbe mina ngibona ngenye indlela ngaphakathi mhlawumbe kwenzeka into, and then ucoach ufila ngathi mhlawumbe singenza ngenye indlela, mhlawumbe ngicine singenze ngiphendula cha ukuthi kuyenzeka nje isikhathi esiningi before kusakhona the previous coach ukuthi ngiphendule mhlambe esho instruction mhlawumbe ngiphendule ngaleso sikhathi because of ama emotions asuke high, but akubanga into personal kwaba ukuthi siyayilungisa ngamchazela nami ukuthi no ama emotions because egrounding like ama emotions abaphezulu and izinto zenzeka fast, so sayilungisa kubanga into enkulu kakhulu.
Okay, perfect. And then I think this is also to you, Boyzie, as a player. Why do almost all players become coaches or TV analysts after football? Do they even plan for life after football? What's the story with that?
Depends on individual ukuthi uthandani. Mina ngizosho mina personally mengiyibona mina ngiyiboni ngaba like a coach because of personality yami and like ukudlulisa into to like ukuchazela abantu into, but nginayo i-idea ukuthi ngafisa ukuthi i-team idlale kanjani, as like ngeke ngasho ukuthi like mina ngibona ngingaba like i-analyst. Yabo, so into esuka kumina ngaphakathi ngathi yonke lonto abantu soke into abayithandayo ukuthi okay ngingakwazi ukuthi ngi-analyze igame because ngeke ngadlala, so ngifila ukuthi mhlawumbe nga-improve i-team la or ngathanda uku-improve abadlali la kanjani, so depends on individual ukuthi yona ithandani.
Okay, thank you so much for that, boys. Coach, I just want to find out from you, what's your perspective as a coach? Why do you feel like most players retire and become football coaches after their career, or I'm a TV analyst?
Yeah, that one is very critical. Players, when they play football based on their creativity, their intuition. Choose ukuthi ufuna ukuba coach, you cannot choose. You need to love it. You don't have to like it, because when you play as an individual. You're just focusing more on your career. How do you maintain yourself into football? Then when you want to become as a coach, one, we need the competence that you have, the commitment that you have in football, and the contribution. Because if you want to become a coach, you are no longer going to look after yourself, but you've got maybe 22, 30 players that you need to look after, players that you need to improve. And if you don't have competency, number one, of which there is a high possibility that being a player and playing football doesn't mean you can coach football, of which we need a certain competency of coaching, becoming a leader, becoming a role model. We cannot use the advantage of saying I've played football, then I can coach it. It doesn't work like that. It's not everybody that is got that competency. What you're going to contribute into football, it requires a lot of commitment. And if you don't have that, it means there is no way that you can do football. You can do it for a certain period. That's why in most cases we lose a lot of good players that we were aspiring, they can make football. But you find umuntu uza for 6 months, suddenly awusambona, because of why? The intention of coming into coaching, maybe they were not legit.
So it's all about the intention and the motive behind it.
And also, we need to see it while we're still playing with Oltanda Gangaganani. And how much time do you invest or do you deposit into football? And if you didn't deposit more commitment and more time into football, I'm not sure after retiring, then you'll have that time to deposit into football. Yeah. Okay,
so do you then, just out of curiosity, do you then let, say a player comes to you and tells you that after football, this is what I'm looking to pursue? For example, Boyz mentioned that he's into being an analyst. You then go to Boyz and say, hey Boyz, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think this is made for you, or you'd be great at this because of this and this and this, or you just let it be, and then they'll experience it from there.
One, I can't choose for him. If he say he wants to be an analyst, he's telling me. If he can tell me today that I want to be an analyst, I'll say, can we start tonight? So that at least we can start looking at the certain avenues while you're still playing. Don't start later when you have retired. When you retire, this thing, it will find you on the other side.
Okay, Boyzie, I also want to find out from you, let's see, what players, or which players rather, it could be abroad and
for mina ngicathi ngisamncane like ngisamncane ngiqale bengidlala like central midfielder, so ucoach wami from i-development impangeni development engangiyidlalela ngisamncane wenza i-interview kwenye newspaper like echaza ukuthi ngidlalise kwaPapi Zothwane, so wathi kumele ngibuke uPapi Zothwane, ngangaze ngimbuke uPapi Zothwane as much, so ngathola ithuba lokuthi ngimbone uPapi Zothwane, so ngaqala lapho ukuthi okay mhlambe ngadlala njengalomuntu lo. So abantu engangibabuka ngisamncane uPapi Zothwane, Teko Mutise engangimthanda no Thabo Muki like la eSouth Africa, ibona like abantu engicabanga ukuthi istyle sami like influence kakhulu, and abroad baningi but engizosho ukuthi ngangimbuka kakhulu like Kevin De Bruyne no Pirlo, like uPirlo uyena like umdlali engicabanga ukuthi ngithathe okuningi kuyena, indlela like midfield iskena ngayo ureceiver kwakhe ukuthi uya kanjani, yonke lo indlela nje yakhe yokudlala nokuread igame nokudictate igame nje yonke into yakhe. So ngisho ukuthi South Africa Teko Mutise, Papi Zothwane, phesheya Kevin De Bruyne no Andre Pirlo.
Is there anything that you would like to say to Coach before we wrap it out? And Coach, is there anything that you would like to say to boys?
Qale mina ne.
That's a threat, Coach. Safe space.
Ngicathi into engayisho ucoach ukuthi kubaleka kakhulu ku-team kuthina umuntu like hleze happy like angaze ngambona ecasukile noma ngakhuluma kanjani naye umuntu omdala ngakhuluma kanjani, but hleze uzo understand ukuthi mhlambe kubo ama emotions or unenkinga uzokhuluma nawe eceleni ngoba ngisho ukuthi i-situation yami le ukuthi ngabe ukuthi ngiphendule ucoach uyena umuntu oweza kumina ucoach Marcus wakhuluma nami wangichazela ukuthi no ngiya-understand izinto ekanje ziyenzeka kanje nakanje ngicathi ubalekile kuthina and uyasikhulisa sonke, not mina kuphela nabafana laba abancane abakhona eteamini, so usikhulisa nje sonke as a team ngoba even nani like uyakhuluma nami niyambona ukuthi umuntu obaleke kanjani like eteamini. So ngithi siyabonga coach, sicela ukuthi like uqhubeke usigqugquzele and yeah.
Thank you sir.
Career cool coach. And what do you have to say to boys?
Okay, from a player's perspective, something engifuna ukumtshela uBoyzie ukuthi ifootball izokunikeza isikhathi, and later uzoba ne certain duration esale waba nayo ne-football. When you look back, you need to look and say yini into engiyenzile mina ne-football. Even if football mayibheka melibheke ukuthi lesikhathi ekunike sona is not a wasted time. Into engifuna ukusho ukuthi as a player you'll play for a certain period, and don't play for yourself. Kumele udlalele abanye abantu. Whoever uzayo egaming, you need to give yourself time to be able to put him into the game, because ibhola nalo linikezile isikhathi impela kanjalo nje.
Thank you so much, Ndwandwe, guys. Till next time on our next episode of Football for Beginners and Beyond. Thank you. Danke.